I'm Lamarr Townsend. I'm an astrologer, a psychic, a tarot reader, and an energy channeler. And welcome to my Mars and Pisces video in my series of Mars and the Zodiac signs placements. So, thank you for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, comment and share with your friends and family. Keep in touch with me on my social media, Lamarr Townsend Tarot on Instagram and Facebook. And also make sure that when you subscribe, you hit the bell next to the subscribe button and hit all notifications, which will help you and allow you to get all notifications every time I upload a brand new video or go live on YouTube. So thank you for listening and watching in this video. Oh, by the way, if you all would like to follow me on my social media, Lamarr Townsend Tarot on both Instagram and Facebook. And also, if you would be interested in a personal reading from me, I do astrology, natal chart, birth chart readings. I also do psychic tarot readings. I do phone readings. I also do candle work for clients. You know, I do a lot. I have a lot of different services on my website. I even have specials on my website that you should check out as well. LamarrTownsendTarot.com. You can also schedule a reading with me via Schedule a City on my website. Alright, and I would love to read for you. I am available for readings. So in this video, I will be talking about Mars and Pisces, and the Mars and Pisces personality, the Mars and Pisces sexuality, and also how Mars and Pisces people are when they're angry. So let's go ahead and get into the video and see what's going on with Mars and Pisces. So Mars and Pisces. Mars in astrology rules the first house. Mars and the first house, which, by the way, our first house is our rising sign. So Mars and the first house and your rising sign all rule our general outlook on life, our physical appearance. Alright, it also rules how we express our anger, how we express our sexuality, how we have sex, how we like to have sex, the sex we like to have, blah 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 blah. These are all the things that Mars rules. So when we have Mars in Pisces, we actually have Mars here in the planet Neptune. Now it's interesting to know that Pisces is also co-ruled by Jupiter. So Pisces is both ruled actually by Neptune and Jupiter. Interesting caveat. We'll talk about that here in a second. But Neptune is Pisces' main ruler. Neptune rules illusions and confusions. Neptune also rules our need for solitude. It also rules our connection to our spirituality, our hidden strengths and weaknesses, our privacy, how we are behind closed doors and things like that. Alright. So Jupiter also rules taboo. It also rules our philosophy and our belief system. It also rules our sense of adventure and exploration, alright, our ability to be open-minded as well. So Mars in Pisces is a very open-minded person, meaning that Mars in Pisces is someone that is almost willing to try anything at least once, alright. They are not necessarily thrill seekers, but they can be thrill seekers in the spiritual sense. Does that make sense? Because of that Neptune energy. So Mars and Pisces are the types of people who are thrill seekers in the spiritual sense. Now this can actually be related to, not all Mars and Pisces are these types of people, but this can be related to actually drugs and alcohol, okay? Mars and Pisces people can be attracted to escapism. You know, doing things to escape their problems, doing things to escape the mundaneness of their life. They're spiritual thrill seekers. That's exactly what an escapist is. Spiritually escaping your problems, whether you escape in a book, alright, or you escape in a bottle of Merlot. You know, it is what it is. But not all Mars and Pisces are like this, alright? Mars and Pisces, as I was saying, are very philosophical people. They're very caring people, definitely caring. Mars and Pisces is not necessarily someone who is going to do things or say things to intentionally hurt your feelings all the time. Sometimes they will, but they have to reach a point in order to actually, you know, do that. It's interesting because Mars actually does rule how we express our anger. So Mars and Pisces people, because here we have Mars, which is a very fiery planet, and actually a very watery, you know, essence here with Neptune. But also a very intellectual essence with Jupiter. Alright, so wherever Pisces goes, Neptune and Jupiter follow. Alright, but Neptune is directly behind Pisces, whereas Jupiter is directly behind Neptune. Alright, so Mars and Pisces people are freaky. Alright, very freaky types of people. Sex to them is very spiritual, alright? So, excuse me, a lot of time with Mars and Pisces, they're the kinks, they're attracted to kinks kind of thing. Not all Mars and Pisces are this way. But, you know, Sometimes, for example, it's not necessarily the gender that always matters, or how someone presents themselves that always matters. Sometimes it's the energy. So Mars in Pisces is someone that you will often find who's like, for example, in gay terms, and now it's become mainstream phenomena, so you guys will probably understand what I'm talking about when I use these terms. Mars in Pisces is the type of person who may be a gay man who's very masculine, and for some reason, people always assume that masculine gay men are always tops. Not necessarily true, especially when we have a Mars in Pisces here. A Mars in Pisces can present themselves as very masculine, alright, but they actually could be a bottom behind closed doors. Here we have that Neptune energy, what we like behind closed doors. How we present ourselves in the public, because we have to also keep in mind, Mars is the self-image. It's how we present ourselves and how people view us. When we have Mars in Pisces, or even the first house in Pisces, because remember, the first house, aka your rising sign, is ruled by Mars. Or, well, is traditionally ruled by Mars, but you can have your first house in Sagittarius or Cancer or something like that. My first house is in Virgo, but my Mars is in Sagittarius, so I'm going to be excited to talk about that one. But, you know, I'm touching on it a bit here because we're talking about Jupiter. Jupiter is actually the ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces. I digress. We're focusing here on Mars in Pisces, okay? Mars in Pisces it can sometimes differ what they actually like or who they even are behind closed doors than what they present themselves or who people to believe them to be in public. This is the type of person who maybe they are, I don't know, a straight man or a straight woman, but behind closed doors, they secretly have fantasies about, you know, like having sex with the same gender or something like that. Or this can even be the energy of someone who presents themselves publicly a certain way, but behind closed doors they want to be the opposite gender, or they like dressing up as the opposite gender. This is Mars in Pisces. They can sometimes live in a fantasy realm. Now, I'm not totally saying that these things are fantasy, but in a sense it is fantasy because it's escapism. Escapism is fantasy, alright? So if you're not presenting yourself as what you are behind closed doors, it's a fantasy. You are living a fantasy. Now it's a fantasy in your mind, alright, because that's what takes you out of the essence and the energy of your life, alright, that you know, don't like coping with, the things you don't like coping with in your life. But this can sometimes cause a dichotomy and confusion, that Neptune energy, illusions and confusions with others. So Mars and Pisces are the types of people who sometimes are very misunderstood, sometimes they can be kind of off-putting to others because the dichotomy between who people think them to be and who they actually are can be so polarizing. You know, that it's like, dude, I thought, or like, girl, I thought you were this way, but really you're this way. I'm getting closer and seeing that, like, you know, you're kind of not who I thought you were. Now, Mars and Pisces people have to be careful because with this fantasy aspect of Neptune, you can easily fall in love with an idealistic version of something or an idealistic view of something versus the reality. So Mars and Pisces people can actually be the types of people who like fall in love with their best friend, but on the realistic plane, they know that, you know, their friend only wants to just be friends with them and it probably wouldn't work out. But sometimes you can get so caught up in the fantasy of things that you end up like hitting on your friend or throwing yourself at your friend, and there goes the relationship or something like that. So Mars and Pisces people do have to be very careful when it comes to being totally present in reality and sometimes escaping the reality. It's okay to escape reality. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, alright? So Mars and Pisces, as I was saying, are very kinky types of people. How they express their sexuality, it's very actually sensual. Like they play into what they know people kind of like, you know, secretly behind closed doors, or they'll play into someone's fantasy. So Mars and Pisces can be someone that actually likes role-playing or dressing up or something like that. That's a very fantasy type of thing. Mars and Pisces can even have their own fantasy where like, this may be too much. Students out there, close your ears. But Mars and Pisces can be someone that wants to have like sex with a professor, or something like that. Like that older man. Now, interesting to mention, Mars and Pisces can actually be attracted to older energy because older energy, not always, but is known to be very spiritual. Like more what's the word I'm thinking of? More spiritual, like more aware of their spirituality and more knowledgeable of spirituality. So Mars and Pisces people can be highly attracted to intellectual people, alright, highly attracted to artists and creatives, alright, And like I said, sometimes what turns them on is like it's a fantasy kind of thing. Alright? Not always, but sometimes. Now, not all Mars and Pisces are this way, but Mars and Pisces, the energy of it, the essence of it can be very submissive. So in relationships, in sexual situations, Pisces can actually like to be submissive. Now it's interesting because remember I was saying how they present themselves can be different from how they are. Pisces can actually be the energy of like being versatile, alright? Like kind of liking to be submissive, but kind of liking to dominate every now and then. They kind of like to switch roles every now and then and be able to flow in and out of certain energies. It's just who they are. They're a water sign. They're also symbolized by the two fish who are always kind of flowing and have this kind of yin-yang, situation to them. That's how Pisces operates. And when we have Mars in Pisces, Mars is the energy of Mars, the essence of Mars is a very go-getter, go get 'em, go forward without really thinking and just do it kind of energy. Whereas Pisces is a thinker. Pisces is someone that has to feel the energy. They have to feel the energy before they take action. So Mars and Pisces people can be very slow moving, alright? They value, like I said, intellectual conversation. They value creating that kind of mental connection as well as creating that emotional connection, that emotional bond. This is when you will probably have the best sex with the Pisces, the Mars and Pisces, is when you've created that mental connection, but also that emotional bond. And if either of the two or both of them are broken, these bonds are broken, then Mars and Pisces can be very passive aggressive. Mars and Pisces can be very resentful. Mars and Pisces can be people who kind of like to torture you a little bit emotionally in a spiritual sense. So, interestingly enough, they can be attracted to those types of scenarios too, torture. BDSM, things like that, all that stuff, alright? So this is a little bit about Mars and Pisces people. Very intellectual, very actually psychic, very psychic. They know just what to do in any circumstance and situation because they are not attached, but they are tapped into the spiritual energy, the spiritual essence of being a human, alright? It's not just go, 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 which Mars is all about. It's reflect before you go. Feel the energy before you go. Tap into spirit before you go. These are all things that are Mars and Pisces values before taking any sort of action because Mars is a very action-oriented energy. Mars and Pisces people can actually have this kind of thing where a lot of them will sometimes need to wear glasses, or there can be some kind of, not necessarily handicap, but there can be something about them where they kind of need some assistance in some way, in some form of their life. So it's like maybe they only wear glasses when they drive. Or they can only, I don't know, like when they walk, for long periods of time, they have to sit down a lot. Or like they can just have this kind of thing that disables them a little bit, but they don't let it stop them completely, if that makes sense. So in that sense, Mars and Pisces are very much dreamers, of course, but they're also people that are ambitious. But ambitious in a sense that people don't understand. People can actually get kind of fed up with Mars and Pisces because most people are just go, 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 go. But Mars and Pisces are the types of people where it's like, my spirit's telling me I need to sit down, like I'm tired, so you go. I'm gonna sit back here, kind of thing. But Mars and Pisces will value a friend or anyone who actually kind of just follows their lead. Isn't so focused on getting their own desired outcome, but is focused on compromising and creating a solution that works for both of you. If that makes sense. Mars and Pisces is actually a pleaser. They like pleasing people. They are people pleasers. But don't push them to the edge. Don't push them to the point where they become passive aggressive, they become resentful, and they are less caring about you, or definitely less caring about pleasing you. Whether that's in the bedroom or outside the bedroom, okay? Like I said, Mars and Pisces, how they express their sexuality, they're very sensual. Not easy to anger, but when they anger, OMG, they can be very slick at the mouth, very evil at the mouth, and it's like Mars and Pisces will break you down to a T, will assess you and the spiritual energy around you. That's why, you're not progressing in your life, because you ain't shit and your energy's shit and blah 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 blah. Like, that's a Mars and Pisces when they're mad, and it's kind of like, where's all this coming from? I didn't even know you felt this way, and second of all, I didn't even know, like, all this is kind of true that you're telling me. Like, did you feel this way the whole time, kind of thing? That's how Mars and Pisces people can be. They are people who I think sometimes others take for granted. But there are also people, like I said, who are very psychic and who take in the energy of a situation, but also will take in the energy of a person. Sometimes Mars and Pisces can actually be picked on because they can come across, especially if they're male, come across as a bit more feminine in their behavior, feminine in their actions. They're just a bit more sensitive, they're just more tuned into their spirituality and their spiritual essence. So it is what it is. Actually, on that same instance, Mars and Pisces can be someone who gets picked on by the same sex a lot, and who can be hurt by the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever you're into, a lot as well, because you're so sensitive, and because when it comes to other people's actions, you're very sensitive to other people's actions here with Mars. Alright? Now when it comes to women who are Mars and Pisces, a woman can actually be jealous of you when you have Mars and Pisces, because men or whoever you're attracted to are naturally going to be attracted to that Mars and Pisces energy. It's very soft. It's very open. It's very nurturing. It's very, like, you know, inviting, Mars and Pisces energy. So naturally other women are going to be threatened by that sometimes. But at the same time, women, when it comes to Mars and Pisces energy, like to test it a little bit, especially alpha females, alright? Other beta females as well, beta males, beta females too. Sometimes you'll find this also happens with the opposite sexes, where maybe there's like a feminine man and women are threatened by the feminine man for whatever reason, whether he's straight or gay. Mars and Pisces is a complex bunch of energies, and it's expressed differently depending on your gender, of course, but it's also expressed differently depending on exactly where it's placed in your astrological natal chart, birth chart. So this is why it's important to get a astrology, natal chart, birth chart reading from a trusted astrologer. So with that being said, this is my bit on Mars and Pisces. I hope you got some insight and clarity on this placement. And if you would be interested in getting an astrology, natal chart, birth chart reading from me, I would love to read for you. Check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. I do have specials, $55 where you get a 20-minute psychic tarot reading and a 20-minute birth chart reading. Sometimes people will supplement the other 20 minutes of a psychic tarot reading just for an extra 20 minutes of the birth chart reading. Whatever works for you. Alright, I'm open. I'm Mars and Sagittarius, okay? So thank you for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, like this comment and share with your friends and family. Keep in touch with me on my social media, Lamarr Townsend Tarot, on both Instagram and Facebook, and I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you for your own personal reading. Either way, I'm sure I will see you soon.